Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the February 2013 Suffolk County Council on Environmental Quality meeting.
Is that where we are?
I would just like to remind everybody this is a public meeting. If there is an item on the agenda that you would like to address, feel free to address it at that point in time when we're discussing that item. I'd also like to let everyone know we have two students from Post University who are here on a community sociology course, and they're witnessing a public community meeting to see how it progresses and to learn about it for one of their classes. Welcome, both of you. And I think that's about it for introductions. We will move on. Did everybody get a chance to read the January 2014 minutes?
Yes.
Were there any concerns?
No, everything was as I remembered it. I mean, I have no memory.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Okay. Yes, I would like to make a motion to accept the January minutes.
Seconded by Larry. All in favor? Motion passed. Okay, thank you. John, is there any correspondence we should be aware of?
Yeah, no correspondence this morning. Yep.
Thank you. All righty, Historic Trust docket.
Good morning. The housing program, as I reported last month, all the units are occupied. That remains the same, so that's good news.
Hello.
And with the Historic Trust custodial agreements, while we have not had the staff time to work on those agreements, because they've been spending their time on the legislative grants that have been awarded to our historic sites, and the letters awarding those funds have been sent out, and now they need to work up all the contracts and the work programs at these different sites and projects. And so that's what the contracts office is working on.
Anything else, Richard? Thank you. Okay, project review. Recommended unlisted actions. The first one, proposed acquisition of land by Suffolk County for open space preservation purposes known as the Sutera property located in the Mud Creek County Park area, town of Brookhaven. Good morning, Loretta.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. We have before you one parcel of approximately 0.1 acres, which is part of a much larger assemblage along Mud Creek in out of East Patchogue, town of Brookhaven. To date, the county has, if you look at the map in green, we've acquired about almost 130 acres. We still have about 30 acres to go to complete this assemblage acquisition. And we are also in the process of doing a comprehensive analysis of the Mud Creek watershed and remediation of this former duck farm, Gallo duck farm, that we acquired a number of years ago through tax lien process, actually. So between tax lien parcels dedicated to parks and acquisitions along the stream corridor, we've tried to amass our holdings and do wetland remediation work, hopefully in the future.
Any questions?
Loretta, I'm looking at the map of this thing, and I obviously see the wetlands, and this seems to be right in the wetland area. In that sense, it's very, very fortunate purchase. Question, is this an individual building lot at 5,000 square feet?
I would have to go back and speak with the town.
Okay. The other question I have is there's town of Brookhaven owned land to the northeast. Let's see, Louise Avenue is the marker that I see, and it looks all wooded. Question, is that within the watershed or a contributing area to Mud Creek?
The town of Brookhaven parcel?
Yeah, the
Yes.
large.
Mm-hmm.
That was a proposed subdivision. We're going to put houses in.
Yeah, I don't see any problems with this.
Right.
What was the size of the?
0.1 acres.
I mean, the
It's
county,
5,000 square feet.
yeah, the county has picked up these little pieces.
But it's part of and surrounded by county holdings.
Motion unlisted neg deck.
Just to explain it, just to explain it, what is the yellow boundary?
The yellow are parcels to be acquired.
There's a key there.
Is that master
but-
list stuff?
Yes, was
No, it's,
It's planning steps resolution
Oh,
number
okay.
614-2003.
So that's for all those parcels?
In yellow.
all righty. Motion made by Michael. Is there a second? No? Is there a second? Seconded by Larry. All in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lenore.
we did.
Okay, next, proposed improvements to County Road 73, Roanoke Avenue, and State Route 25, Main Street to the vicinity of County Road 58, Old Country Road, Town of Riverhead. Hey, good morning. Please state
Good
your
morning.
name.
I'm Eric Berge. I'm a senior civil engineer with the Department of Public Works. And here with me today I have Chris Polker. He's a junior civil engineer also with DPW. He's here to discuss a separate project, but we work together on both projects, so we're both kind of qualified to answer questions on both of them. So, as you stated, I'm here to go over the proposal for improvements to County Road 73, Roanoke Avenue, in the town of Roanoke. I'm just going to go over a brief description of the road. The project area is approximately 6,700 feet of roadway. It extends, as you said, from Main Street, which is State Route 25, all the way north to the traffic circle, roundabout, at County Road 58, which is Old Country Road. The right-of-way is currently and will remain 49.5 foot wide, so it's relatively narrow, one lane each direction, narrow shoulders, 4 to 5 feet, narrow sidewalks, which we're hoping to improve, to a full ADA accessible 5 feet. There is curb and sidewalk existing on both sides. In various conditions, some of it is acceptable, some of it is not. And the adjoining land use is primarily commercial and residential, almost exclusively. Posted speed is 30 miles an hour, so it's low speed. Groundwater is approximately 8, elevation 8. Probably gonna have trouble seeing this, but this is the typical section as the road was built in the 1940s, and I can give you a copy of that if you wish to. I'm just going to go over the description of the issues that we're hoping to resolve with the project. The existing drainage system is rather old and requires a lot of upgrades, and the end of the system is not adequately sized to handle the amount of runoff that flows through the pipe. Frequent flooding occurs. Actually, the majority of the road is pretty well drained because it has a decent amount of pitch to it. The drainage system is there. It's not in great shape, but it's there and it's functioning. Carries the water down to the Cranberry Street and Southern Boulevard. Actually, Southern Parkway is where the discharge to Merritt's Pond exists, which is one 36-inch diameter pipe, which is insufficient to carry the amount of runoff. So, as part of this project, we hope to actually reduce the amount of runoff that actually gets to that pipe. And we propose to do that. Actually, I'll just go through some photos real quick. This is the northern end of the project. As you can see, the pavement's in pretty good shape. But as you move towards the middle, as you can see, lots of patching, lots of lots of repair work that was done, and I'm sure it looks even worse now after the winter that we had. So.
Is that an area where the curbs are buried?
Yeah, you can see the reveal. Well, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but the reveal is really, really bad. So I mean, they're essentially gone. Here's the intersection with Northville Turnpike, which again is the pavement's actually in decent shape. So the next phase really on this project is to go out and assess, which areas of pavement need full rehabilitation and which just require an overlay. Here's the southern end near Main Street. As you can see, it's the commercial area. This area probably just needs some cosmetic upgrades, resurfacing and some new striping and stuff. I'm just going to show a few pictures of some tree trouble that we had. And this is kind of representative. We only have like 5 or 6 situations where we have these trees that are, were obviously not the right species for where they were planted in the mow strip area between the sidewalk and the curb, and they're heaving up the curb and the pavement and causing all sorts of issues. So we're probably going to have to remove those. But any tree that we remove, obviously we'll replant a street-friendly and wire-friendly tree in its place. At least 1 to 1, probably more than that. Actually, here's another example. Same kind of thing. I don't have any pictures, but there are street-friendly trees that are planted. We would probably try to match that species. They're already planted in the area. So the proposed improvements include going down to an 11-foot travel lane and 4-foot shoulders. Typical, obviously that's going to vary, depending on where we have turn lanes and intersections and things like that. So, but the idea there is to try to widen the sidewalk area to make pedestrian travel safer. And along those lines, obviously, we'll bring all the sidewalks up to ADA compliance in width and slope requirements, adding ramps and detectable warnings where they're needed. And we'll be replacing all the curbs that are either deteriorated or have insufficient reveals. And the trees, obviously, I already talked about. As far as the stormwater concerns, we plan on installing permeable concrete gutter slabs, which will be adjacent to the curb, about 2.5 feet wide. We're planning on doing it the entire length of the project, or at least where we install new drainage pipe, because we would have to tear that up anyway to install the drainage pipe. So we actually looked at the cost of an asphalt rehabilitation versus this. It's close enough, and we're getting enough benefit out of the permeable concrete that it seems worthwhile to install the permeable concrete and reduce our runoff by, upwards of 50%, probably more when it's new. Oh, and then we'll also be adding leaching basins, again, to reduce the runoff that gets to the end of the pipe. And whatever makes it to the end of the pipe, we'll be installing a rather large hydrodynamic system just to catch the floatables and the sediments before discharging the Merritt's Pond. That's just a detail of the permeable concrete that's in the plans that were part of the packet. And speaking of plans, I have plans here, but I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see them. So if anyone needs to see a full-size set.
I think we all got them.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did that. I couldn't remember if I did that half set or full set. All right. So that about wraps it up, and I'll open it up at this point to any questions that you might have.
I got 3 sets of questions. The permeable concrete, is that stuff easily cleaned? I mean, basically, if you get a fair amount of debris in there over a period of years, it's going to reduce the capacity to have infiltration. Are they easily cleaned?
It's an excellent question, and that's one of the reasons why we're selecting this product. It's actually being used in New York City, and one of the reasons why NYC DOT likes it so much is because it actually they're individual slabs that are not connected in any sort of way, or
Pick them up.
so they actually come with lifting hooks that a backhoe or an excavator can actually lift it up, and they can actually backwash from the other side.
So it would be a
and wash the
backwash.
sediments out. Yeah.
My
So,
second.
or they can be replaced, in entirety, because they're two
Yeah,
and
you
a half
can take the
feet
stones
by,
out, things.
say, 8 feet. So
So it's not a difficult operation, it just involves the equipment that you
right.
would have, okay. The second question is, the runoff that's going to be diverted into the pond,
Yeah.
there's going to be some treatment, but is the treatment going to meet DEC standards at this point in time?
We believe so. We are reducing the runoff significantly and using a DEC-approved hydrodynamic stormwater treatment system. Obviously, we have to get a permit because
That's
we
where
are
I was gonna
modifying
go
that
next.
discharge. We're going to have to remove and replace the pipe that's actually discharging
Yeah,
to the
'cause
pond.
it always gives me the willies whenever you've got a discharge from a road into a wetland, basically, or a pond or something like that. Given the emphasis nowadays on trying to protect those particular features, and here you are basically taking road runoff and popping it into a pond. As long as there's, DEC is okay with it,
Right.
and I did read the plans, it looked like it was adequate capacity, if you will, and also adequate cleansing, but I wanted to ask the question.
Yeah.
Has the DEC approved this?
Not as of yet. That's our next step, and
You're gonna have to.
we're
Yeah.
getting ready to
Like that.
submit, hopefully this month.
Yeah.
Okay, but currently though, Eric, this drainage pipe does discharge to this Merritt Pond.
It does, yes, and it carries a tremendous amount of runoff. There's actually two systems that come down Cranberry Street. One of them is partially Suffolk County's, the other one is the town of Riverhead's. And then obviously we have our runoff from the north and the south, all converge, go out one 36-inch pipe to the pond.
Is there much debris right now at this point in time, where the pipe lets out into the pond?
I actually have a picture of that. I don't think I brought it, but I can send it to you if you'd like. I was just out there, well, when I took this picture. The discharge is actually you can kind of see it.
Well-
The discharge is down there, and it actually didn't look too bad.
Okay, because I've seen a number of ponds where this situation, if you don't mind, where you have these discharge points and there's basically a fan delta of sand and God only knows what else is out there, pieces of road, etc.
Yeah.
And state DOT occasionally will come by if it's a state pond or a state road, and they will come by and do I don't want to call it a dredging, but basically that's what it is.
Right.
Do you think it's in that kind of a condition?
It didn't appear to be, but again, it's frozen over. It was kind of hard to tell. So, that's something that we'll definitely assess.
Eva?
I have several questions regarding the trees, relating to the sidewalk, the curbing, the wires above, and the type of trees. In East Hampton, they've been chainsawing trees left and right, which is really a horror, and there's a lot of people up in arms about it. I'll start with the ground level of things. So, what is the standard width that's available to you for planting of the trees right now? Because this is it's not definitive here from what I can see. It looks like you're setting the trunk, or more of the upper caliber, I guess, 2 feet away from the sidewalk. Does that mean you're going to be curving sidewalks around the tree that you're going to plant, or the existing?
Typically, there's like a 2-foot mow strip, we call it, which is the area between the curb and the sidewalk. For this narrow right-of-way for 49.5 feet, once you get your lanes and your shoulders in, there's not a whole lot of room left. And the sidewalk, there should only be about 2 feet left here. So planting a tree in that area, unless it's a very small species, something that's only going to get to 10
this
feet,
is
again,
showing
I'm
more
not a
than that.
landscape architect, so.
On sheet 3 of
Yeah.
11, it's showing, it's giving an indication of like 5 feet. That's why I'm wondering what the heck is really going on here. Unless I'm not
I
reading
think
this.
I think that's the
No,
trimming
it's showing
detail.
4.
Huh?
Looks
Clearing
like
and grubbing.
Yeah. It looks like it's
Yeah,
a
actually,
4 foot,
I'll have that here.
Well, more
between the
than
road,
4.
between the roadbed and the sidewalk.
More than 4 feet, because you have a separation. It says 2, 2, and then there's something that's not.
Oh. But if you look at the pictures, most of the time the sidewalk is about 2 foot.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, this is what
Yeah,
you're
that's it.
I
proposing.
know.
So what you have here as a proposal is unclear to me as to whether how, you know, what the give and take here is, because it looked very narrow, you know, in the pictures that you were showing.
Right.
It looked like you're saying 2 feet, but this is indicating much greater than that. So my question is, because, you know, what species is not going to be interfering with the wires? Are they putting in new poles taller than the existing poles? Is there, you know, how tall are the poles right now? You know, because there's no point in planting species that grow that tall and then chopping them off and creating all kinds of.
Right, that's something I would have to discuss with our landscape architect, who, you know, unfortunately is not here.
And
You know, that's certainly, you know, something that we'll consider. But I know LIPA, well, now PSE&G has, you know, a list of species that are considered wire friendly.
What does that mean? I mean, wire friendly, trees grow up, basically. I mean, you also have work with the rooting of the trees themselves, because deciduous spread, conifers go vertical.
Right.
So we're talking about conifers here, you know, which is, I don't know, I mean, you know, there aren't species, unless you're doing some sort of ornamental tree, that grow short.
Yeah, I have a question. In the past, DPW, when they had to take trees down because of safety reasons and stuff like that, put replacement trees on the adjacent property owner's site with their approval.
Right.
I mean, this takes them out of the roadway, it takes them out of the,
Right.
you know, that strip area,
Right.
you know, to prevent future accidents. Is that mainly the policy here, or are you going to replace these in the strip?
That would be the preferred course of action there. You know, if we could, you know, if we could do that, we'll definitely do that. And
Jim, I think that should be part
So-
of the neg deck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
should.
Is there some sort, and some sort of definition of what's going on with the actual trees? Because really, you can only do ornamentals if you don't want to deal with cutting the tree later.
Well, and we can put that in to the neg
Right.
deck. I mean, one of the things we want to try and do here, you look at the pictures that we've been given and up there. It's a
Right.
beautiful alley, if you will. I mean, not all of it. The
Right.
southern terminus
I know the
here in
street
town,
very well, yes.
I've driven it also.
Yeah.
You know, and it's clear that, you know, to preserve the property values and things like that, you know, the street trees should not be disturbed all that heavily.
Right.
Eric was saying there's only about 5 or 6 big ones that are going to have to be taken down, but to preserve the LA, we should try and preserve what we can. You know, I would think most of the neighborhood would be okay with it. If you look at the tree distribution on the pictures, again, there's a lot of them along the road, but on the private property. So I don't think that it's going to be an impediment or anything.
No, it's just, you know,
To ask that.
I'm curious about what they're planning, because, you know, that LA, when they start chopping away, when PSE&G comes in and starts cutting it, there's no longer an LA.
Well, we'll go for bonsai plants.
Well, you get my drift. I mean, this is, you know, there's an issue, and then it's a question if you're going to put them on the owner's property, then they have the obligation to maintain them. And the same kind of, there's another thing that goes on there with PSE&G. I mean,
Yeah.
right of ways, it's not on, you know, it's the tree right away that, you know what I'm saying, you can't, there's a definition of.
Yeah, it's a utility right of way to prevent the
Yeah,
wires from coming down.
responsibility of who's doing what.
But I mean, for
right.
example, you get Brad pears. They go up about 25 feet and then they stop.
Right.
Okay, and that's generally enough to deal with the wire issue.
But no, not necessarily. That's why I'm asking, are they going to have new wires where they're doing poles that are taller, which is what they're doing in East Hampton? But if they still have cut down, before they put the new poles in, they cut down all these trees. It's ridiculous.
Well, again, that's what we're worried about.
State your name, please.
Legislator Krupski, District 1, this is in my district. So there's a couple things here relating to, one relating to the sidewalks and the trees. You've got to make a determination today, and it's going to be based on the plans that were submitted. But how much of a change can DPW make? And we're going to schedule public hearings in Riverhead about this, because this is going to, the construction and also the final design is going to affect a lot of people. So one thing that concerned me was that mow strip. As you go into town, of course, there is no mow strip. It's all sidewalk.
Right.
And if you eliminated the mow strip, you would have greater access for people to safely use the road. You know, without coming into contact with automobiles and getting in the way. So how much of a change in the plans? And then we are also talking about the tree issue, which is very important and should be addressed
It's gonna be
now.
a big issue going up and down,
Right.
you know.
So are you going to make a determination today, and then if DPW changes the plans, how are you going to have? Are they going to have to come back here to make another determination?
Substantive change.
If it's a substantive change, they would have to come back. If we make a determination that it's a negative declaration with the provisos of A, B, or C, which we might do depending on how we determine here, then that proviso would be basically about the trees and how to plant them. I don't think you would have to. If that's not a substantive change, and you can then go to your town meeting, discuss with these residents what they would like, discuss with PSE&G if they can be helpful or maybe contribute to the planting of new trees on the individual property owner's property, instead of in that little mow strip to keep out of the fires. And if the homeowners will assume that responsibility of taking care of those trees. So, we have several issues here going on. But it's important to discuss that at the community meeting with these homeowners so they can be a part of it and to bring PSE&G in it also. All right?
And also, what's a hydrodynamic treatment system? And shouldn't the DEC be more concerned with the 1,200 geese with nutrient and bacteria loading in the pond rather than the amount of runoff that you're going to clean and discharge?
I can't disagree with you there. But unfortunately, I can't.
Yeah,
speak
there
for
is a good
DEC.
point with that legislative
Yeah.
property, but
Yeah,
also
very good point.
there are separate stormwater regulations that the DPW must comply with.
But what is that system? I'm not familiar with it.
Is it similar to a board?
It's
Text
a
system?
Vortex. Vortex is the proprietary name, so we try not to use that. But essentially, it's an oil water separator for stormwater,
Oh, thank you.
and it takes out the sediments too.
Yeah, that's the latest type of environmental protection using those things. Those are the highest and best that you can find right now.
Well, when land is not available to
Yes.
build traditional.
It's
pest
considered an
management
end-of-pipe
practices.
treatment system.
Yeah, it's kind of a last resort for us, but unfortunately, it's one that we have to use a lot because land, in this area is a very good example. There's no land available, to even acquire to build a traditional stormwater management practice.
Okay, members of the
Thank
board, is there a motion?
And I'll make a motion. What is this? This would be an unlisted neg deck, and let's put a couple of conditions in there. First off, dealing with the trees, they should be, I think, what is the proper word for it? Street friendly? Wire friendly. Wire friendly, so that further, well, we gotta place them, if possible, upon the private property as opposed to the mow strip. That would be one of the recommendations. And two, that the trees not be such that they would interfere with PSE&G and telephone communication wires that are up on the poles. To the greatest extent possible. That's the way I would like to phrase that. What else did we have in there?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sidewalk,
Yeah, well, yeah, and we want to also have them sidewalk friendly.
Right.
What were the other things we were looking at?
DEC,
Oh, yeah, well, that goes without saying, but
Yeah.
this is conditioned upon, it's not a conditional neg deck, but it's conditioned upon obtaining the DEC permits for the protection of the pond.
I'll second.
Okay, first, any more discussion?
I'd just
Larry.
like to make a comment with regard to water quality of the pond. Looks to me if you're really interested in water quality of the pond, you better do something about the birds.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing that
Concern
struck me
about
when I visited
Coliform
the
and
pond.
nutrients.
Yeah, a lot of Canadian geese in there.
And that
No
was
swans.
in the middle of January too. I can only imagine how it is in August.
Right.
Well,
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Is it going to be, is there going to be any designated bike lane adjacent to as one of the shoulders, or is that just going to be, I mean, you got to make improvements that's going to make it safer, obviously,
Right.
but is there going to be any designated bike lane?
As of now, that's not in our preliminary plan. However, DPW is preparing an RFP for a comprehensive bike lane and bike route study that's going to be performed by a consultant. That will be chosen later, obviously. But hopefully that'll be out sometime in the next month or so.
Thank you.
So that's going to study every county road and their
Add it.
connectivity as it regards bicycle.
Well, I know we've had many requests before with making sure there's bike lanes when we've had road improvements. And it's very important that we consider that, all of these. Looking at this proposal and the narrow width of the road, it appears to me, and I've driven this road many times, so it appears to me that there is not enough room to put a bike lane on each side. If you put one on one side, but then you're not riding with traffic both ways, so I don't know if it would fit on this particular road. Now, you mentioned that this RFP is going out, but it's going to study all county roads, which is sensible to kind of get an idea of where we are with bike lanes and how we can improve them and add them. This particular project, I don't think there's the physical room. I think what's more important in this particular place is the safety of the sidewalks and the tree issue, all right? And the drainage issue for the pond,
Agreed.
all right?
They're reducing the size, the width of the, from 12 to 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the lanes.
So I think let's focus right now on what this project is doing or trying to do and accomplish. And we're going to look at that right now and make our decisions.
One question though, does anyone here know how heavily this road is used by bicyclists?
I don't know.
Very infrequent. I drive that road, a couple times a week practically, so.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll see a bike on the sidewalk. They don't really ride off. It's a very dangerous road. It's heavily trafficked. You got a fire department there that empties right out onto it. You got the railroad tracks. It's problematic.
All right, so we had a motion by Mike, all right? We had a discussion seconded by Eva, okay? All in favor? Okay, motion passed.
Before we get to the next thing, you mentioned that you're gonna come up with a bike plan.
Yes.
I had a serious question, ask the consultant, what is the county's liability by putting bike paths on the road and somebody gets whacked? I ride in the town of Brookhaven, they got these bike paths on these very narrow roads, and these people are driving 95 miles an hour. What is the municipal's liability for putting these things on the roads?
It's relatively low if it's been designed to design standards, whatever those standards might be, as established by FHA and some of the other agencies and or, I don't want to say authorizing groups, but like standardized groups that establish standards. As long as those standards are met, the liability level is low. You're still going to get sued, but it's not as if, but I'm just letting you know, the county generally has a pretty low liability threshold there, and it doesn't come out of the county's pocket.
So I assume
Again,
this
as long as it
plan
meets the
will
standards.
be created pursuant to specific standards, you have the consultant get into that?
Of course.
Not just where people want to go? Because I'll tell you, those bike paths in Brookhaven aren't created to any standards.
Standard is no standard.
Okay, next. Proposed rehabilitation of County Road 13, Crooked Hill Road, from County Road 7, Wicks Road, County Road 106, Campus Road, Brentwood, Town of Islip.
I've got to recuse myself on this one, so I'm going to blow that
Good morning, members of the council. My name is Chris Bolker, as I've already been introduced. I am a junior civil engineer for Suffolk County Department of Public Works, and I'm here to present the rehabilitation of CR 13 from Crooked Hill Road, from Wicks Road, CR 7 to CR 106 Campus Road. So CR 13 consists of, our project consists of 4,000 linear feet of roadway. And it's an 80-foot right-of-way on the road. And it consists of 4 travel lanes with one 11-foot median in the center and 2 to 3 foot shoulders. The road currently has curb and sidewalk, 5-foot sidewalk, which is compliant to ADA. And here are some here's some roadway characteristics. The current posted speed is 40 miles per hour. Its classification is rural, urban, minor arterial road. It's 85 percentile speed on the road. The northbound is 52 miles per hour and southbound is 55 miles per hour. The pavement width is 60 feet, and the road was last reconstructed in 1955. And the volume for the road, the AADT, is 17,892 cars combined going northbound and southbound.
Before you go on, I don't understand your 85% speed, 52 miles per hour and 56.
Those are, they do measurements in the field, and they record the speed of the cars going.
So even if it's posted, this is what people are traveling?
This is exactly what people are actually traveling at. So that's what the majority of them.
So 85% of the people are traveling at those rates?
Exactly. So currently we have sidewalks, the sidewalks don't extend all the way to the north to Suffolk Community College, and there's a park up there also. And you can see footpaths on both sides of the road, so we're actually planning on extending the sidewalk to the project limits. The existing drainage on the road is old leaching basins, which were also built in the 50s, and currently they're failing. They're flooding the road, and they're not properly infiltrating the stormwater back to the groundwater. The curbs on this project are also buried, as stated in Eric's, where from constantly resurfacing the roadway, the curbs are only a couple inches of reveal back. And we're looking to bring the roadway up to standard, because currently they're also doing, in the process of, I'm not sure if you heard of it, a Heartland project in the old Pilgrim State property. So we're trying to bring it up to speed, up to standard, because they're going to be extending the project further to the north later on.
Eric, could you just describe very quickly what the Heartland Project will potentially be, so we can understand it?
The Heartland Project is, I'm not as familiar with it, but it's a large development project being done by, I believe, Wilcoff. Wyckoff. Thank you. And
That's what I wanted to know. Industrial, residential, mixed?
Residential
What is it?
mix.
It's a big mix of everything.
Mixed
Yeah,
use.
it's like a little community center, like there's gonna be like stores and housing and stuff.
And it's way up in the air and
Yeah.
and speculative.
How big is that?
How many acres?
Yeah, how many acres is that development?
Oh, hundreds.
Huge.
Hundreds, like 500 acres?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't know that much about it, but I know it's related. So basically, we're trying to bring the roadway up to standard for that and for the reasons of safety. So here are just a couple pictures of the roadway on the day that it was raining. You know, as you can see, we have all flooding near the leaching basins, so they're not really taking the water properly. Here's another intersection. You see flooding, and looking to the west down that side street, you see the size of some of these ponds. Another example. So basically, Suffolk County is proposing replacing the leaching basin system with a positive system that will take the stormwater and put it into a recharge basin. We're looking to do so by going down a side street, Lehigh, and through a school and into a town of Islip-owned recharge basin that we already have an agreement for other stormwater that's entering it. So in order to take the watershed from our area, from this additional watershed area, we're going to have to increase the capacity of the recharge basin by approximately 30 feet in width and 5 feet in depth. And it will require, some, excavation and removal of some trees.
before you proceed,
Yes.
you know, what's the depth of groundwater in an existing recharge basin? Is it, you know, is this thing got standing
It's-
water in it, or is it?
No, the William Street recharge basin it's a fairly large recharge basin, and the soil properties, it's mostly sand, and the depth of groundwater is gotta be more than 50 feet. So
Okay, I mean,
it's
because in the
sufficient.
past, we've had recharge basins where they tried to expand them, and the standing water was in the basin. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, it's like taking
Yeah.
runoff and putting it into an existing pond, which didn't really work.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have a lot of recharge basins that have a lot of like silt on the bottom that haven't been cleaned in a while, and sometimes
Yeah,
held
that's
water.
fine, but.
So it goes both. Yeah, we found both. So we're gonna make it 30 feet wide, 5 feet deeper, and there's also a Yarnell Street recharge basin, which is further on the south of the project, kind of closer towards Suffolk Avenue. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area. But we're looking to expand that recharge basin too. That's a Suffolk County owned recharge basin, and it currently hasn't been maintained in a long time. And we would like to, increase the storage capacity of that one, and it'll also act as an overflow for the William Street. God forbid it, if it ever reaches its capacity. So we're trying to add a little factor of safety in there. So. We're looking to replace all the curb and sidewalk throughout the limits of the job, and we're going to make all the handicap ramps ADA compliant, which is pretty much standard for us. The curb, we're going to be replacing it with a 1 foot wide traversable curb, which is, because of this 85 percentile speed of the roadway, is becoming more of a standard, by New York State, and as shown, AASHTO recommends.
Okay, what exactly is a
Thank you.
traversable curb?
Sorry. It's a curb that, the car, instead of, if you hit a flat face curb with a car at a high speed, it causes vaulting and you lose control of the vehicle. Where you have the traversable curb, similar to like the Northern State Parkway, where if you veer off the road a little bit, you'll feel it and you'll know it, but you'll be able to regain
So
control.
in other words, it's just at an angle
It's-
instead of
Exactly.
90 degrees to the road. Okay.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
curb's at an angle. The
And
face
it's
of it.
curb, it's a S-curve kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's 1 foot wide. It'll have 6 inches of height to it, and it'll go to an angle. So we will also be milling and resurfacing the roadway with 2 1/4 inches of asphalt, and we'll also have some full depth repair in certain areas where necessary. We were looking into putting a traffic signal at Lehigh Avenue. It's because it's near the school, and we had some requests from the crossing guards because it's a really difficult area, especially with the speed of the roadway. So that's traffic department is looking into that. And we also have a budget for landscaping, so we're going to work with the landscape architect and also add some trees down the road, which we will try to put off to the side as recommended, and get sign-offs from the residents to do so. And just a typical section of the roadway. You can see the slope curves. I know it's hard to see from where you are.
What will you be doing with all the excavated soil when you enlarge the recharge basin?
Well, the excavated soil, we're not going to need any for the project, so we would be disposing of it in an approved facility. Here's you can't really see much, but this is the William Street recharge basin. Here's an aerial, which is also hard to see, but this is the existing site. And we'll be bringing the pipe through the side of the entrance to the school and kind of cutting over into the basin. And here's the Yarnell. And here's an aerial of that recharge basin. And that's pretty much it. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
How often do you get findings, and this is a little off topic, but how often do you get findings where cars are traveling, 85% of the cars are traveling 15 miles per hour over the posted speed limit?
quite often, believe it or not.
I have an idea, because I really think that you should be required to notify the local precinct for enforcement in those cases. I mean, that's a really dramatic speed issue, and on our own roads, we should make sure that, we're at least notifying the precinct about that when that's found.
I think it's.
But that's off topic.
Yeah.
So you don't have to respond.
Maybe you might see like 70 miles per hour over usually, but this one seems it's definitely a little high. It's a straightaway also, so you can gain some speed.
Well, any other question, then maybe we need to do something to change that straight away.
All right, is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Unlisted neg deck with the proviso that as before with the trees being placed on, private property, if, approved by the property owner.
So the same conditions as the other one.
Right.
All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Other business? Okay, recommended type 2 actions. Proposed construction of check-in station at Cedar Point County Park, Town of East Hampton. And John, you're going to speak to us about all three of these proposals since Mr. Gibbons is not available today. Okay.
Yeah, Nick Gibbons from Parks wasn't able to come today, but just presented the information that was in your packet. There are the three projects, very similar, one at Cedar Point, one at Indian Island, and one at Montauk County Park. And they are basically the construction of a new check-in station, 1,700 square foot check-in station. At Cedar Point and Montauk County Park, they're replacing the existing check-in station. And at Indian Island, they're building a new check-in station, and the existing check-in station is going to be used for a ranger station. So the plans there are in your packet. Pursuant to New York State 617.5C, 7, 20, and 27 falls under a Type 2 action because it's the construction of less than a 4,000 square foot non-residential structure, and it's kind of routine agency administration. And just the last thing, Parks, the information Parks provided to us, this just to help improve safety, efficiency for both their staff and the public.
The control plan.
Right. They're right at the entrance to the parks.
Can you put a bedroom in there? We can get more housing. They're gonna look okay.
Okay, any questions? It's actually a nice looking building, looking at the elevation. It's very cute.
Are these standardized,
They look like they're the same plans.
Yes, it's exactly the same. That's what I was saying earlier, the procurement issues for bundling it up is getting it all the same. Save money. But it looks quite attractive. I mean, they do have to cut down a few trees and some of them. I don't know the size of these trees, it's impossible to tell on the plan.
Yeah, they said they're going to limit and I think they also said in the plans they'll replace any trees that
They
need.
will. Okay.
What's the siding like?
Yeah, how can you tell that? Is it,
I saw it on one of the plans and I can't find it.
they're insulated vinyl clad casement window.
No, wait, I think it's cement.
Oh, cementitious board
lap
trim
siding.
and cementitious board lap. Yeah, that's like that hardy
it's-
plank cement.
Hardy plank.
Yes.
So
good.
it'll look pretty, it'll
And
be
it'll
maintenance free.
Woodish
It'll be,
and not,
Minimal maintenance, not vinyl free, but minimal, yes.
Yeah, you take a power washer and you're clean.
Yeah.
okay, so that
And they're
looks pretty good.
repaintable.
Yeah.
I think it's a new house for Larry, but
Okay. Any questions, anybody?
this is, which one are we looking at? Cedar Point?
Well, they're all the same
Yeah.
structure.
It's the same thing here.
Yes.
Yeah. Want to do a
Well,
total motion?
we're going to do one motion for each, one right after the other, so they each have their own resolution number and keep it separate. Okay?
They all look okay.
Positive think there?
No, it's
No.
Type 2 actions.
Type 2.
And except for the new facility, also add to that the replacement in less than 4,000 square feet, and then the one that is a new facility that doesn't apply.
Right. All right, is there a motion to receive your point?
And I'll motion it, what is it, type 2? Or neg deck. That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, just type 2. Okay, all in favor? Second. Oh, second, I'm sorry, all in favor, motion passed. Okay, move on to,
Now that's, we're gonna do each one separately?
yes, Indian Island County Park. This is to construct a new one. We're not replacing, we're just constructing new. But it's the exact same structure
Riverhead.
as the other two.
Indian Island's
Type
Riverhead,
2.
right?
Yes, Riverhead.
Yeah,
Right
it's
on
on the
the
river,
river.
on the Taconic, right near 105 Bridge.
Type
So-
2 negative deck.
Okay, I'll second.
No, type 2.
That's type 2.
I use the
Type
old
two
language.
doesn't
I've never
apply.
accepted the change just to type 2. I still say neg deck because I think type 2 should have a neg deck or a
But
pos deck.
they don't need either way.
It's technically, it's just a type 2.
Okay,
That's just my little revolt against the system.
okay.
Okay, so there was a motion, Faustiina.
Yes.
Type 2. Is there a seconded by Mike? All in favor? Motion passed. Then we have the third one, and as Jim Beck picked up, it's not Montauk Island County Park, since Montauk is not an island, it's just Montauk County Park. Right. And this one is a replacement.
Well, maybe they know something that's coming.
Yes.
Wait, is there another hurricane coming that we don't know about?
If global warming, the storms are getting larger.
No, it's a tsunami, not a hurricane.
Okay, motion
Second.
by, seconded by Eva, all in favor? Motion passed. Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, recommendations for LAD's report. Recommendations for legislative resolutions laid on the table February 11th, 2014. Okay, John, in our packet we have that. Is there anything that we should be aware of?
Well, yeah, the recommendations are there on the left-hand side. Mike, do you have a question?
Well, 1042, establishing guidelines for the use of methacrene.
Yeah. Yeah,
Excuse me. Is that the same bill?
yeah, I was going to mention that. That
Same
is-
language?
Yep, same, it's exactly the same bill, so our recommendation, when we reviewed it, so our recommendation is the same.
Basically, it's a pos deck
Yeah.
at this point in time. You should put that in as a pos deck.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one that I'd like to point out, and this is just something because I happen to know about it, is 1047. I'm going to vote no on that one for a very good reason. A local law to regulate strike that, it's 1048. Decommissioned body armor vests. Armored vests occasionally have a very short shelf life. Okay, it's like the armored windshield on cars. Sometimes the polycarbonate structures will break down very, very quickly on a car, and after, say, 2 years, the armor just is no good anymore, and it will crack under a bullet. The same thing with a lot of these body armored vests. I do not know whether the policy, and I'm questioning the policy for a second, whether that has been considered. Basically, a decommissioned vest may not be an effective vest. You can get somebody killed, is what it boils down to, with these vests, and that is apparently happening in some of the wars that are going on right now when stuff has been given from the U.S. military to, say, the Afghanis or to the Iraq armed forces, and it's been decommissioned. The vests are not that good. They do not always work. And the question I have for John is, have you read the bill? Does it
Yeah.
say anything about this?
I did read the bill. I read through each one of them. For this one, there is something in the bill that says only if they're acceptable to the town to accept them. And there's also something in the bill that says, that the county would not assume liability for this.
No,
And
I
it
can't
doesn't
deal
talk
with
about
that.
the purposes for which they're used. Like, I know that sometimes we sent them to the troops and they were lining like the bottom of their truck just, or
I
for
don't-
added protection.
I don't recall
I
it
don't
having
imagine that's what the
purpose.
local
That's-
governments are doing.
At least for me, that's too loosely written. So when we do this stuff, I'm not going to,
I think,
I wonder whether that's an environmental issue here, Michael Rover. I mean, we have a legislator here
I understand that.
that understands that, but I mean, I don't know if that's an environmental issue.
I understand that, but I have a moral objection to it, so. And I know it shouldn't come in, but I'm just gonna try to abstain on that one. The other one is 1091 and 1095. We've got creating a tick control advisory committee, and then we've got a task force. And I'm just trying to see the difference.
One's extended demo.
Yeah, but is that also for, how does that relate to the advisory committee? Whereas 1095 and 1091, are these two separate groups, if you will?
It appeared in reading the legislation that they're two separate. One is a task force that was set up a few years ago, and then this is a new committee to be set up.
Any other concerns? Is there a
Um,
motion?
Michael's concern kind of hits me. So I may want to also just abstain from that.
Okay, is there a motion from any other board member?
Motion to approve as is, as designated.
Is there a second?
It was there. What about your?
Yeah, 1042 should have the POSDEC language on there.
Yes, we said that
It
already.
says that, CEQ.
Well, then the motion can't be there. Oh.
It says submit supplemental EIS to CEQ is what it says.
Okay. I'll look at it.
Okay, so we had a motion.
I second
Mary Ann seconded. All in favor? Motion passed.
I'm on it except for the abstain one.
Okay,
it. And the same for me.
okay. John, you got that down.
I-
Let's do it for that one.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I would like to request staff to call up the legislative attorney's office and notify them the fact that 1042 CEQ is still got the same recommendation and it should have the supplemental EIS on
Alrighty. Okay, other business. Is there any other business?
Yes. I'd like to go back to
Yes.
a note that was in the minutes from the January meeting, and that was the apparent confusion over the Cedar Point Lighthouse and who was going to run it. Did you mention that?
I'm sorry. Say that
It
again?
says here that you were going to discuss with legislator Schneiderman, who introduced Resolution IR 102, 2014, that would create an agreement between Suffolk County and the Friends of Cedar Island Lighthouse to revitalize it. But then you said you already have an agreement with the U.S. Lighthouse Service, and you were going to try to discuss with the legislator what was going on and whether, I guess, his proposal was needed.
Okay. The Commissioner of Parks, Greg Dawson, has discussed this with Legislator Steineman and explained the situation and the fact that the specific request to allow them to have a bed and breakfast at that site is already included in the existing contract, the possibility of allowing that. So an additional resolution is not needed for that purpose. And also the County Attorney's Office is also working with the legislator to make sure his concerns are also taken care of. And they have called me and I've explained that to that office also, that the existing contract allows for the ideas that the organization has right now for the restoration of the lighthouse.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I wanted to bring up the fact that antifreeze is being used on the tracks for the railroad to get the ice off. Is there any discussion about the use of that chemical?
It's pretty benign. And we do have to have something on those rails, otherwise the trains will literally slip and slide and not be able to get traction.
Right, I just didn't know if there was any kind of environmental issue.
No, so it's fairly benign
It's
issue.
benign.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
There's different types of antifreeze. There's an ethylene glycol, there's a propylene glycol. Propylene glycol is very benign. Propylene glycol is even allowed by the FDA in food and cosmetics.
Right,
And leaning towards those propylene glycols is much safer, and we do use them.
okay.
Can we use beet juice instead? That was a joke.
Thank you.
Mary Ann?
I I would like to address our next meeting site. Could we please meet at the Scully Estate? Enrico Nardone has requested our presence.
Okay, I think that's perfectly acceptable for next month, as long as it can be arranged.
I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, and when Christine sends out the notice, she'll let us know that the meeting place is appointed, okay?
With
Where's the
directions.
Scully Estate located?
It's in Islip
Islip.
on South Bay Avenue, which is directly opposite Islip Town Hall, off of Main Street.
For those of you who came on to the board after Enrico Nardone was on the board, and he is the director of these days, he was on the board for a couple of years, and he's very active in environmental issues. There was a monthly publication called the Great South Bay Magazine. He writes a nature column every month for it, and I'm sure he'd be very happy to see us all there, and it's a lovely, lovely place for us to have a meeting at. And it's heated, so we can do it in March. Okay.
It actually has facilities?
Yes.
No, they were
Also,
Yeah.
to remind everyone, it's also the location of the Suffolk County Environmental Center that the Seatuck Association has a contract to run for the county, as well as their own program
Yes.
website.
Nice.
So this would be a lovely place for a visit, and maybe we'll hear some spring peepers and see some, few plants
Spring?
poking up, and
Maybe
it'll be
snow on
like
the ground
spring a
and
little
walk
bit,
around the
maybe.
trails.
Gloria, only if you promise the spring is really coming.
But,
Thank you.
is there a motion to close the meeting?
Make
Oh,
a
you
motion
got
to close.
CAC concerned.
Oh, I'm sorry, CAC concern. Joy, do you have anything?
Don't have them.
Okay, but thank you for coming. Okay, motion to close the meeting? Eva, seconded? By Larry, all in favor? Motion closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.